friends. It is Sirius Joy Alive, and we're at a new test time 1 hour later this week, trying to see where the algorithms will place us best. But welcome. This is our show every day of the week where we're live talking about what's going on in the world. And there's a lot going on. In fact, this is going to be a week really where we slingshot into power. And you may not feel like you're actually in power the entire week. I'll be talking about this Capricorn week ahead of us. Plus, we've got a special guest. Michaela Eleanor is here. She's our interviewer at the Unite the Light ceremonies, if you might have seen that. If not, we'll have some clips later on this week. And we're going to be talking also tomorrow to Scott Cruz. He's going to be our tag team specialist here doing readings. So it's a fun week ahead. It's Monday, but it's almost over. I'll see you inside.
Since 1995, CChi has infused every product with love. Our star is CChi Cream, made with kombucha tea, organic and wild-crafted herbs, and essential oils. Its fresh citrus scent appeals to both men and women. Age gracefully with our rehydrating facial serum. Made with organic sea buckthorn berry extract, giving your face a healthy glow. Your skin will love you. Scan the QR code on your screen now for 20% off with promo code LOL.
You started your business for freedom, but somewhere along the way, it turned into chaos. You're trying to fit your unique vision into someone else's blueprint, and it's leaving you feeling overwhelmed and second-guessing your every move. That's exactly why we created From Chaos to Clarity, your 12-week live business intensive. We give you the courage to claim your voice, the clarity to build your unique framework, and the conviction to lead your business your way. You'll get live power hours to hone your strategy and weekly accountability sprints to make sure the work actually gets done. Stop following, start building. You don't need to do it all alone. Clarity is closer than you think.
$3,500K. 3,900K at 60 is what this is. Okay. That's our Third Eye Witness News. Top scholarships. You can buy a gifted scholarship for 6 months, 9 months, or Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sirius Joy Live. This is our new live show. We're doing some experiments this week. We're going to go live a little later. This is AI advice, if you want to know. I'm looking for the algorithms to find the sweet spot in broadcast and see when people tune in and when it's convenient for people. So this week we'll be an hour later, and we'll be an hour only. So we're going to be kind of shortening it and seeing how it works. Thanks for rolling with the punches with us. We hope to be up to full speed here by Aquarius, the energy of Aquarius. But we were in Capricorn right now. Golly. And you can feel it. Today is a step net 6 day. Step 15 is the ruling step number, and it adds to a 6. Now, whenever you have a day that adds to a 6, normally I really take the day off. I mean, that's, I think, what God intended. So 6 and 7 are days you want to take off in the step system, but we can't, obviously. And it's one of those days, especially in Capricorn, where Capricorn is all about being serious and being punctual and everything going perfect. When on a net 6 day, it's kind of back and forth. The plane keeps swirling. You know, it's just not, it's a difficult day to kind of, keep the altitude. So if you had a hard day, you felt like it was heavy, it was heavy because Capricorn had high demands. And because at the same time, we were really being told we need to let loose a little. So hopefully you were non-judgmental, you were open, and you were just being heartfelt with yourself. If not, you still have some time tonight. Now, over the weekend, we had a full moon just recently at step 13. How did that go for you? For a lot of people, I've been talking off camera, people had some hard times. We had our meeting today in our Astro Strategies team, and everyone said they had a hard emotional weekend. This full moon was intense. Of course, it was in Cancer, so that's the most emotional things is in Cancer. But I found that myself, I had release. I had to cry a couple times at least, just to let stuff off. It's just pent up emotion. So if you felt that way, you weren't alone. We are really dumping all of the trauma that we've been processing this year, this last year. 2026 is going to be different. It's going to be new trauma, new things to take us off. But I do feel like that we're almost at the end of this. In fact, this week will probably be the last week of really trying to have to climb out of a situation. And really what it comes down to is managing your life by how you feel. Now, we aired our Zodiac, we aired our new Namaste Today time over the weekend too. Seems like it got some good traction on Sunday night. People seem to find it more actually, and appreciated it. And I talked about it. So that is live if you want to watch it. We can do clips maybe do clips tomorrow, some of that, just to point out. But one of the things I talk about is the fact that this is going to be a tested week, and that your emotions and your feelings are what you have to use to navigate. And that's because the opposite sign of Capricorn is Cancer. So our feelings are what tell us we've made the wrong decision. And a decision is what gets you out of a feeling. They each solve the other. But this week, what we have is a launch. We will hit step 17 really next 2 days from now. Today, we're going to 16 right now. We'll have 17 tomorrow night. We're going to 17. 17 is a grandmaster step. And what you're ultimately doing the next 2 days is you're making a decision on how you want to run your daily life. Now, that may sound overly simple, but it's probably not. It's probably far more profound. In fact, usually the way it works is it's a very simple decision, such as, I'm not going to drive to work. I'm going to take the ferry. Something as simple as that sometimes can change your entire life. And it really comes down to the fact that underneath that decision is compassion, perhaps, patience, the ability to, take the easy way, give yourself reading time on the ferry. It's like so much happens from a simple step. And we are here really, I think in this lifetime to recognize the power that's in the moment, that there's a gem, there's power in every moment. And if you can master a moment, you can master your whole lifetime. So this week, my little advice is to be honorable to your own feelings. Your feelings will tell you if it's too far. Your feelings will tell you if something's off. And it's difficult to speak up for your feelings sometimes, especially in Capricorn, because if you tell the person, sorry, it's not, we're not there yet, or you have to, I don't feel right about it yet, or I don't feel right about it at all, there's a risk of disappointing people. And that's where things get messy in Capricorn Cancer, is that first of all, we ignore our own feelings to a point where we are oversensitive because we've been ignored. And then once we're oversensitive, we feel everyone else all the time. And before you know it, you are always reacting to others' feelings instead of reacting to your own. So this week, maybe a little promise to yourself, just one little Monday promise, that you'll react to your own feelings first. Just your feelings, take care of you, and let your feelings do the walking, let your feelings do the talking, and see what changes. So what happens is we launch this new approach of daily life. And the daily life approach, whatever it is, you get your daily life in order, you make the right decisions, you'll find that things start to fall into order as we move on to the year. Now, speaking of the year, it's going to be a doozy. That's why you should attend the Countdown 2026 webinar, which is a webinar weekend this weekend. I'm excited for it. It's 2 full days. We'll have a Saturday lecture series. You have 3 lectures on Saturday, an opening, which talks about the general themes, and the title of it, which is New World Order, KNEW. And we'll talk about what the themes are and what the major events are. And, looking at the year ahead, it looks sticky, very sticky. There's sticky moments. And I give all those sticky moments in the lecture. We talk about it. Then we'll take a break and we will do an Astro Mingle, where we get together and divide into private rooms. If you're there by your sun sign or your rising sign, things like that, I'll give some questions to ask. And you go around in a round table in these rooms and you learn about each other who are just aspects of you. Really powerful stuff. Then we'll have a lecture on January through June. Then we'll take another break of 90 minutes and we'll also do another Astro Mingle. Then we'll do June through the end of the year. Then we'll take a break and then we'll do a question and answer. So there's a lot of breaks. It's much more relaxed and it's all recorded if you can't attend the first day. The second day is our Horsefire workshop. And on this day, Sunday, we're going to actually take charts, take your chart, bring your chart to class, and we're going to help you make a roadmap of how to get through the year. I think I have a couple of back doors. I have a couple of secret passages. The hot spots are kind of hot. And I'll be giving you little passages of goals to have done by that particular time of the year. This year might be a time where we shut down in some cases. Maybe the economy shuts down. Perhaps the government shuts down. There's just a lot of weird stopping, you'll see, and also pushing going on. And one last feature, and this is the one feature you want to get. If you can't make the webinar, if you can't do it, or if you're not just into it, well, then at least get the new Enchanted Calendar. There's a new digital calendar we have out where you can actually import all of the astrological dates, the step changes, the Love Fest days, the Mercury retrogrades, all of it, including Easter eggs and surprises, into your standard calendar. And not only that, it has little warnings like 3 days ahead that things are going to happen. It's really cool. I'm really proud of it. I want to thank Brenda on our staff. She did an amazing job with a lot of this design, and it's just a great piece that you need to have in your toolbox, I think. So you can get them all together for a bundle price, and if you're a Sirius Joy, you'll have a special coupon code. You'll get that in the Pep Talk room. So go to the Pep Talk. You'll see it listed right there on the board. I don't know who I'm looking at in that picture, but it's interesting. So that said, we are moving ahead with a powerful week. And I feel like, just so you know, to give you an output, today and tomorrow are days to not be taken too seriously and to really just be in your heart and try to go with the flow. One thing about Capricorn is we've learned to be a little too hard on ourselves. Humans are way too hard on themselves. And really, I don't think it really matters because I think, honestly, we're in a game. So let's try to be lightheaded. And I'm lighthearted, and maybe lightheaded, have some bubbly, and just go through this week having fun if we can. Tomorrow, we're going to have Scott Cruz on our show. He's going to do our tag team readings with us. I'm excited. Scott is up in Lake Tahoe, but he'll be broadcasting live here with us in the studio. And we'll be doing readings. So if you haven't bought a ticket yet or bought a reading yet, you still can. This show does live readings if you don't know. We have 3 varieties. You can go to SiriusJoy.shop to purchase a reading. You type up what you want. It comes right through our system, and I will read it right here on the air and give you a reading. We can even sell you a recording of it, all sorts of things. This is a time to try things like this out. I guarantee you there won't be many seats left in the future because, honestly, when things start to shake and people don't have any answers, suddenly the psychics and the astrologers are on call all the time. But probably the most exciting thing today is we have a special guest in the studio. She's been with Sirius Joy for a long time. We're going to bring her up here in just a second. But I'll just tell a little story in the sense that Sirius Joy is very interesting, that we grow spiritually organically. What I mean by that is nearly everybody who works at Sirius Joy watched Sirius Joy. Seriously. Almost everyone who has started as a viewer or a friend of mine and they wanted to be a part of it, or they're married to someone who watched it, in our director's case. But everyone sort of got pulled in through word of mouth. And it's interesting how that happens. It's an organically built company. And today's example is a great one. The people who've learned to write and grow on our team have learned from being viewers. And I say that to you because I feel like it's time for us all to grow. It's time for us all to find our path. And sometimes it's right under your nose and you don't even know it. The universe puts you right where you're supposed to be. So I'm wondering if we should, do we have any, let me look in the monitor here and see what we have. We have any questions going up? We might have one question I think that's come in. All right, readings are open and available. All right, totally. Right, so we do have one that I know has come in. Excellent. Well, let's see. Let's do a little break. When we come back, we'll do Michaela if we can. We'll be right back with Michaela. Okay, stay tuned.
Aloha! I'm Mary, and I'm inviting you to experience the mystical world of the tarot with me. As a tree-hugging dirt worshiper, a retired wildlife biologist, and a sprite of the forest, my readings take you into the realms of elemental creativity to unearth a deeper awareness for those big decisions that you have in life. The first 50 viewers to email me with the coupon code below and book a reading will receive 50% off that reading. I can't wait to see what the cards have in store for you. Mahalo nui loa.
At Hair Intelligence, we believe that every strand of hair has its own voice and needs. By combining ancient wisdom with modern biochemistry, we create pure, organic solutions that work in harmony with your hair's natural biology for optimal hair health naturally. By choosing simplicity, sustainability, and science-backed natural solutions, we help our clients transform their hair, whether it's repair, regrowth, or simply radiant, healthy manes they seek.
All of her products have completely changed my hair. I like to call it magic in a bottle. So if there's one thing that she knows, it's hair.
Before using Karen's products a few years ago, I
struggled with various hair challenges, including alopecia, and now I've overcome them, and I've just fallen back in love with my hair.
Get your best hair with clean, organic products that are catered to your hair's unique health and longevity. Get 20% off your first purchase at Hair Intelligent by entering code SiriusJoy20 at checkout. Rediscover your hair's true potential.
Amazing, and she's amazing, and she's also an expert on Chiron. So if you do hair with her or work with her, you're going to get some Chiron advice for you. Well, our guest today is someone that has come all the way from her hometown, somewhere in the middle of the country. I don't know if I'm supposed to name it. And she's been working with us for a while, but you might have seen some of her clips. She'll be out soon. We're going to be releasing some of the clips of Unite the Light 2 coming up. This has been delayed for a variety of reasons. The end of last year was pretty intense with karma and stuff through Scorpio. So we put it off, but we're going to bring them out. And she did an excellent job. She basically interviewed everyone that came by and got all kinds of different takeaways. So we kind of talking about this story through the week, but also Michaela's a special addition to our family. So let's bring on Michaela, shall we? Michaela, how are you? Eleanor, hi.
Hello, Christopher. How are you?
How are you? I mean, how are you liking Palm Springs, by the way?
I feel so welcome. I feel like just all goodness all around. Yeah, it's very tranquilizing, very grounding. Yeah.
You sure it's not the food we're giving you? I'm just kidding. Like,
I mean, that too. I mean, I love bread, but no, it's gorgeous here. It's very different line in
oh, really?
photography. So I wonder if it's also
yes, actually. So for people who don't know, astrocartography is where you kind of take your soul and you stretch it around the earth. It's something that came out in the 70s. So like astrology is not the first thing to come out. There's been along the way, but you can see like where parts of your chart happen on the earth. And so the sun line is really important, actually. That's where you shine the brightest.
Yes, and here I am.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Although in my feed, she's a little behind. That's the case. We might have to bring it down and bring it back up. So tell us about Unite the Light 2, which was also a stressful time. We're in Nashville, Tennessee. And overall, one thing we had a little crisis. We'd like have everything go down, right, with our internet and stuff. And we had that moment of crisis. And you were there interviewing. So what was it like, first of all, just like the tone of the practitioners coming through? Because I don't think they're used to that kind of treatment, basically. What were you feeling overall? Can you hasty generalize for us?
Yeah. I was, in regards to everyone coming through it, yeah, totally. A lot of people were not used to, almost being treated. So,
yes.
And there was part of a recognition of, this is just intuitively what I feel is maybe they perhaps felt like, oh, to being asked these questions, my perspective mattering. I'm not used to, I'm used to being called the crazy one at Thanksgiving, right? I'm used to that type of treatment. And so for them to have curiosity met with that type of celebrity environment, I think was just new for them. And you could kind of tell there was some moments of discomfort because of that. I think it's, the era where people who actually love each other are new celebrity, and people who have love in their heart, like that's the new basis. And so as the light workers are coming into that, there's, wiggle room for us to gel into and take that new form and take that new mold. But, once everyone was, calm and comfortable, it was, it was more relaxed. But yeah, I loved all the different people. And yeah, it was electric. And I think, wasn't it the Mercury retrograde that happened right when, was it? There was some planetary specific.
Yeah, no, well, it was the sun on Uranus. The sun was on Uranus the first day. And actually, you know what's so funny? So I'm going to fully make a public admittance here. Like, it's my fault. I think the internet went down. Not really my fault, but I miscalculated. I thought the sun on Uranus was going to be a boost to the program, right? even though it took me off the air for 11 months. So that was a clue. But but when the sun hit Uranus, when it hit Uranus, boom, we lost internet and we were down. So the show started like 2 hours late because of that. But it was literally almost perfectly timed to when the sun conjunct Uranus. Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
Nice.
No, it was stressful for us, but actually I thought it was a huge test of faith, and our team did amazingly well. And really, actually, it all came together really, really well. I think you're right too, that it's interesting because we are living our love bubble, and we actually are used to being alone. Us light workers, like, we don't really usually get to meet each other very often. People who are who hold the door open for other people, that kind of thing. And so there's like a little bit of a kind of a surrealism, when we go to one of these events, and everyone's in that kind of surreal vibe. I think that happens, and then after a while, you kind of gel into it. But honestly, did Nashville feel strange to you? Like, I felt something in Nashville. I could not put my thumb on it, but like, it was a vibe I could not understand, but I felt something there. It almost felt like, I don't know, did the Trail of Tears go through there? Because there was like definitely a pain body floating by that city. Not putting Nashville down. It's not y'all's fault. It's the history there, but I definitely felt something there too. It was almost like our light was helping to heal it.
100%. The first day we're there, I actually had my own Trail of Tears. There was literally, I had a breakthrough. Yes, I had a breakthrough literally as I needed to, get my shift together, as you would say, and walk out the door and, be ready. So I think that, maybe that's what it was, because it was so just not my norm to, have for our breakthrough, but so like oddly placed. Like, why am I feeling this? Like, why is it happening literally as I'm walking out the door? I am not exaggerating. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Everyone did.
I would phrase that.
This year too, just to think back to it. And actually, I think we're going to take you off the air for just a second because we're going to fix something with your internet because it's not, I think you're on the wrong server. Yeah, we're going to fix it because you're coming in weird. And that's another thing, electric disturbance. We had, when Uranus was in Gemini, that was another thing that hit, is it went to Gemini later that year. A lot of electric disturbance we found with all of our programming, all of our technology through the end of the year. But ultimately what happened, I think, when Sun hit Uranus was this call to rise up, to come out of where your vibration is. That was the first strong ascension call. And I'm talking about this because it really feeds into where we are today, believe it or not. So we're doing this retro talk because of that. So you can think back in your life to kind of understand. We began right around then in late May. The universe said, okay, it's now time to innovate. It's time to ascend. It's time to get out of the life you've lived. It's time to get out of the pain you've lived. And to some degree, there was a euphoria as well. When Uranus was in Gemini, we came out of Taurus, and it actually felt, I felt lighter. I was more articulate. My brain was starting to work again. I didn't realize how much marshmallow my brain had become with Uranus and Taurus, because Taurus just slows things down. But at the same time, that rising up sort of makes everything in you heavier. That's heavier. And so I would say from June all the way to the end of the year, it was just pulling off these heavy parts of our lives and these heavy parts of our memories. And I bring it up because we're almost there. This next final lap of Capricorn is making a decision in your life to choose a path that is different than the one we've lived. And that final choice, from what we can tell on our Astro Strategies team, is the end of it. We will be done and complete with letting go of our karma. And that, my friend, is something the earth has never done. And I started to feel it right there at Unite the Light. Almost Unite Light was sort of, was part of it. So it looks like, Mikala, please rejoin the studio. Okay, gotcha. She'll be coming back in. So one of the places we're at today that we want to talk about, we have a couple of questions that have come in. So thank you all for that. We'll be doing those questions. Is simply that it's time now to kind of get a bit more focused on your performance in yourself. I want to tell you, as your astrologer, we are at the end of the hard stuff as far as the personal heavy stuff. And it will come down to a decision, and only a decision, something I don't have time to talk about in the shows, a decision to let it go. Will you feel ready? Probably not. Will you feel like it's all over and you've done everything? No. Will there be loose ends? Yes, of course there'll be loose ends. Will some people not have gotten the message? Tons of people will not have gotten the message. It's not going to be clean. It's not. What I'm realizing is that, when we move on in life, and I can say we are, planets are all showing a different vibe here right around the corner. When we move on in life, the end of the last one is not perfect. The story did not end perfectly. It did not end happily. It did not necessarily end with any kind of a tied bow. Anything that you would like or expect, all that expectation of how it should end perfectly and whatnot is our ego. And that's one of the big lessons we've had, is that we've let the ego, which is here to judge the moment and keep you from running into a wall and keep you from being eaten by a tiger. That's what the ego is for. It's not really for judging or assessing or determining whether or not you've done a good job. The part of you that's here to assess that is your heart. If your heart is pleased and your heart is fine with it, and your heart would just rather leave it alone and just say, go on, then the heart needs to ultimately. So this, what I employ, and I talk about this in the horoscopes, is I employ that you let your heart make that choice. And if your heart's happy, it's done, because your heart is the boss. Saturn is never happy. Okay. Saturn's never happy. So I think we ever bring him back here in a second. Here, we'll have Michaela come back. Hi, you look like you're on a whole nother bandwidth. I think you ascended.
Yay!
Yeah, you're sounding.
Released my lower chakras.
That's interesting too, that's happening. So let me ask you, you're not all millennials are like you. Like I say that to Daiki all the time, but your generation is definitely investing in spirituality. You have been a TikToker and done tarot. Like, what's the climate out there for the youngins? Like, will we be able to retire?
Will we? What do you mean? Oh, you mean like bringing in new people?
Yeah, totally. I mean, where is it? Where are the millennials when it comes to spirituality? I know it's a broad question. Just observing your TikTok stuff.
I would say that there's a good influx of people coming in. I feel like, there's still people trying to, I mean, honestly, myself included, believe in the fact that, perhaps this can be a full-time thing. Like, this is not just, a hobby. This is not just something that you can, pick up and put down at whim. You can do it full-time if you really, truly believe that's where you're going to be of highest service. So I've noticed fellow light worker, where that's their business. And I feel like there is the tendency of picking it up and putting it down. I hope I'm not just projecting that from my own internal stuff, but that is something I've seen too. It's like, girl. But yeah, I do feel like there's plenty of people in the waiting lobby. But whether or not we're fully in our seats and buckled up, I think that's a different thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there weren't in my generation. Well, no, actually, my generation, Gen X, which I think is moving to power, and this is part of this talk today too, is that one of the things having this Capricorn is sort of the officiation. Of the line being drawn. This is where you sort of officiate. This is where people get officially promoted. They officially see their grandparents as retired. You officially see, your kids as young adults. So they're moving out. Totally. Something about Capricorn just officiates stuff. And one of the things it's officiating is a generational shift. The baby boomers are absolutely retired. There's no question. Donald Trump's a baby boomer. So they have held on to their jobs. Whereas my grandparent would have left that job, they held on. So they've held on to their jobs, but they are, I think, retiring this year. And I think Gen X is starting to step up and replace those roles, which then the millennials are now having the support roles. They're moving the support. So everyone moves up a notch this year.
Totally.
Which is, part of what will be the testing ground of 2026 is that not only does it shift at the fan, but we're new at the job, so right. It's typical Hollywood kind of film. But when I remember our generation, we kind of had two kinds. We had the people who totally sloughed off, and then the people who overachieved. Those are ours. So you had at least some people who are doing it. It seems like millennials blink in and out of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. They're like blinking molecules. Yeah. But I like the tarot stuff I'm seeing. I'm really impressed. I mean, when I was their age, we didn't have that kind of entertainment. There weren't people talking about tarot or talking about the internet. I mean, talking about astrology on the internet. So it's interesting in that sense, And people don't know their signs.
Yes, it's less occult and more mainstream, for a lack of better words. Like it's I've seen tarot readers who literally just pick up a deck and they throw it at the ground and they they pick up the cards and they're like, "Oop, you need to break up with the boyfriend." Like, it's very like simple. It's
True.
almost comedic, and it's more normalized, and it's less like this mystical, like I have a veil over my head
Right.
and I'm in the shadows with candles. It's less that.
It's also the other thing is I have to say, and I don't know if this is my ego talking, I'm sure it is, but when I was a kid, I idolized the astrologers before me. Y'all don't even know who I am. You know what I mean? Like, no, seriously, no, I know you do, but I'm saying not this important for me, but honestly, there seems to be no looking up, towards the other astrologers like we were. It seems like millennials are very much like, we got this with
Yeah.
everything they do. They're not interested in following the footsteps. It seems like. I know this is hasty in general, but it just seems like that. There's like a real independence that they're going to start their own world.
Yeah, totally. I feel like, and astrology aside, that sometimes people are filling in the position of what not to be. Like, oh, I have a very clear distinction of what I'm not going to do. So
That's
why
true.
would you want to copy and paste that for your own formula?
Yeah, and that's Pluto and Scorpio too, I think, which is the distinction, is Pluto and Scorpio generation. Yeah, it's interesting to see. And so Pluto and Scorpio squares, Pluto and Aquarius. So what's happening is as Pluto moves up, all the millennials who are born at the beginning of, like, anyone born with Pluto 0, Pluto 1, Pluto 2, Scorpio, they're all on square with Pluto, which means they're all being pushed to move or get out, either move or die. In those kind of
I see that.
You're going to see this. Meanwhile, I'm Pluto in Libra, and so for me, it's a trine. I've had Pluto trining me for like the last 2 years, and boy, it's been trying and trying me. Like, but it's not a bitch slap. It is actually it is like a push to get moving. You cannot stay where you are. You don't have to go home, but you're not staying here, kind of thing, like a last call,
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, and that's what we talk about here. I want to talk about, here in this show, I want to kind of talk about some of the differences of the generations, because I feel like one of the things that's important, and my friend Michelle is really focused on this too, is that all the generations have to come together now for the world to kind of move forward. I think what we're going to see, without a doubt, this year is that the world is very broken, and in lots of ways. Now, some of us have known this all along. Some of us assume this. We're going to have hardcore evidence that the world is broken, and so what's interesting is yeah, the millennials actually don't doubt this at all. This is a thing. Tarot is a thing. Astrology is a thing. So that's interesting that you have the tool set there for that. But and then I think we're all going to do our roles to fix it. And the roles will be, the Gen Xers are the ones who negotiate the balance and the peace again, which has been their whole life struggle. And the millennials will have to draw a line with Pluto and Scorpio. So we'll see. We'll have to talk about it more. But let's read our first question, actually, if we can, because we actually have questions here. We have a shorter show today, and it's been a weird energy. Okay. And you can chime in on this too, if you want. So Isabella, okay, step 22 Aries, 16 moon Cancer, and a 2-degree ascendant in Capricorn. Wow, that's interesting. We've had a lot of these master degrees this week, and the question is, how do I balance the intense emotions of my moon to my sun? So that's interesting. Well, 16 moon in Cancer. So the thing about a 16 moon in Cancer, step 16 is actually your heart opening. So the 1 to the 6 is an open heart. So what happens when you have an open heart is that you are picking up on everything. So you have a sponge for emotions, and it's like a Pisces moon, really. It's kind of like a Pisces moon, honorary Pisces moon. It's in Cancer, so it might, like, a Pisces moon might like hurt really a specific spot. A Cancer moon gets hit, and then the whole moon becomes corrupted. Like it's like everything in the Cancer shares everything with everything. So what happens is you're extremely sensitive, and I think to some degree Pluto is very important to you, because you have to really sit there and meditate on your feelings to see what's what, and sort of pull apart the strands. Because a 16, Pisces energy comes from all is one. That's what 16 at 7. That's Pisces. All is one in Pisces. There is no distinction at all. That's where we all are, in the same energy. And so what happens is, not only are you picking up on everything, it's like a microphone that's oversensitive, but you are blending it with everything you have at that degree. And then Cancer also shares it with itself. So the problem is that you're working with feelings that are not really clear, right? Now, ironically, your ascendant is at 2 degrees Capricorn. So you are designed to act on a single feeling. You're designed to move based on a single principle, a single feeling, a single thing. So you get a lot of work to do here, a lot of meditation work, I think. And by the way, meditation to me is not, when you meditate on your feelings, you're not really, it's not like you're like sitting there like kumbaya or, you know, with your eyes closed. It's more like, I think that person hurt me. No, that wasn't hurt. That was betrayal. Well, it didn't taste like betrayal. That was a stab in the back with a slight dose of insult. You know, you have to like taste like all these flavors, and you kind of get the whole formula of it, and you realize it's an assembly of all kinds of flavors that came down to one, you know, fat SOB or whatever. If you don't take the time to really sort through that, what happens, I find, is that when people are overwhelmed with emotion, they want to get rid of it. They just want to get rid of it. They don't care how they get rid of it. They just want to get rid of it. They don't like it. It's uncomfortable. And that's the problem we have as humans, is that we are not comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? We're really not. And actually, I'd say your generation even less. It's like we become more sensitive as generations go on. We get more sensitive, less tolerant, right? So the only way to deal with that is to get, you know, create a safe space for yourself where you just sit there and you think through your feelings. And for me, it's usually a walk. I have to go on a walk. I'm like old school in that sense. If I go on a walk, if I'm feeling really angry, if I get like really angry, like Red Bull angry, I have to go on a walk. Otherwise, I think I'm going to kill something or shoot something. My mind, I just want to jump out of my skin. Like I'm freaking out. But through that walk, that pace, it's like I'm sitting there sorting through the truth of it. And really what you're doing is you're feeling it, it stings, and then you're feeling it and it stings, and you're kind of defining it. So I think a Cancer 16 moon is a toughie. Now, here's the thing. Once you define it, like once you know, okay, that's the revenge, that's my mother, that's my mother-in-law, you know, like you got all separated. Then what happens is you become incredibly psychically accurate, because now that intimacy is into me, I see. When you see yourself, you can then be intimately seeing others. So it's this weird mirror effect, because they really are a reflection of who you are. And so when you do the work as a 16-degree moon, by the way, any 16-degree moon, but Cancer, any water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, extremely. If you do that work, then you become psychically acute. Like you have the ability to just pick up on subtle signals like you cannot believe. And it happens very quickly too, as you map that out. What do you know about Pisces energy in a moon, Michaela? Because you pull tarot and you look at astrology. I mean,
yes. Say again?
Any opinions on it? I'm just curious.
The moon specifically? Yeah, I mean, I feel like, the moon card in tarot is actually, you know, I think at first glance, the vibe is more like, oh, deception, darkness, living in the shadows, you know, what's in the eternity of darkness. Like, I don't feel like it's all that, you know, it's the boogeyman just making an appearance to see, like, if you put stock and energy into the facade. So I think if you don't get past the facade, it remains that way. And, you know, Pisces 12th house, you know, you can mistakenly stay in the shadows without, you know, peeking behind the curtain. And then you falsely believe that what you see is what you get. But really, if you kind of, I guess take this Aries energy and say, no, I'm going to like blaze through this. Like there's nothing to fear except fear itself. Literally, if you get past the fear, you start to begin to utilize that energy in an actual productive way, because, you know, things are always either love or fear. So I feel like if you can get past the boogeyman trying to fool you out of your own power and mistakenly vote on the wrong side, then you can actually take that energy and use it productively.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the dark defines the light. I think with feelings, it's always a bad feeling, you know, but there's an interesting experiment where, you know, excitement and pain and pleasure can be actually a similar line, apparently, based on the emotion you come to the table with, right? I think a Cancer moon has to be very self-centered and understanding how they feel about things, and recognize that that's really a map to how they can decode others, but others aren't exactly the same way. So to go back to the question, actually, and wrap that up, a 22 degree, I mean, this is a person, if you put it back on the screen for me, if you don't mind, Mr. Director, 22 means that you're actually here to diffuse emotions from other people. You know, 22 sun is going to process an incredibly tense conflict. You have an incredible power to just walk right into the fire, Isabella, right into the fire, and determine feel out, in other words, who's right, who's wrong, who belongs, who doesn't belong. And that's to a 4. It's an Aquarius degree. It's a Grandmaster Aquarius degree. We're just talking about this today in our astrology meeting, that Abraham Lincoln, they say, according to record, was a step 23 Aquarius. But I'm always wondering, is he really a step 22 Aquarius, which would be a Grandmaster? And we determined today he was step 23, because 22s can walk through the fire, and he hated that. If you read his biographies, he hated it. But the point is that 22 walks in the middle of the, slavery, both sides intensely, and is unaffected because they learn at some point in their life that those feelings are those people's feelings, not mine. And so I think what you're going through right now with, talking the moon to your sun kind of emotion difference is the moon's picking up on everything. The sun should choose to re-feel something or not re-feel something. You have to choose that you're going to go ahead and replay that feeling. And the feeling you want to replay is the calm one. I think that's something people don't realize. Our feelings will do whatever we ask them to do. We encourage them. And we all know that we try. We want to be taken swept off our feet, really, when we have joy and stuff like that. But we set that all up, right? And just down the slide. So with that sun, you have to come to the table with that first two. You have to come to the table feeling a certain way, and that's how you control it. So you control what feelings come to the table. We've all done that. We've all been angry, and then we've had to walk into a room where we weren't. We had to hold that back. That's kind of how you do the difference there. But the moon itself needs nurturing, needs time and space, I feel. So good luck. That was a good question. Deep one. Whew. Feel cross-eyed after that. Emotion is the thing that holds us back. You guys, if you want to purchase a reading, go down to SiriusJoy.shop and you can purchase a reading. And you'll also see some of our other things that are available too. If you scroll down, you'll see some of our products and services that we have coming out. It's going to be a busy year for Sirius Joy, trying to be there for people and the nation as things kind of shift in a big way. But this is a great way to get a question. If your person is like, I don't know if I believe in this, or I'm not ready for a full reading, this is how you start. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would take us to psychic fairs. I swear to God, like we go to psychic fairs, and this is where there's like a bunch of psychics all around the cafeteria, like doing cards and stuff. It was like really, this was in the 80s. So, but the thing is like you would just buy one question, like they would buy one question, and you get one answer. And I'll be damned, I would listen. My mom would tell me the answers to stuff, but you go to like 5 of these little one questions, and they would all say the same thing. They would all say the same thing. They would tell you the same exact thing. And that's how I started to believe in it at a young age about readings. It's like sometimes it's better to have a small little dose of someone's interest just to get the feedback. How do you I'm going to fall off my chair here. How do you triangulate feelings and stuff as an intuitive? Do you people you call?
That's a wonderful question. I feel like I never use the same the same method twice. Sometimes I phone a friend. Sometimes I figure it out by myself, which Aqua Moon. So, that's typically my go-to is figuring it out solo mode. But essentially, as long as I'm addressing my own sense of self without a bias towards any one feeling, I think that's the quickest way for me to like pop in and out of it. If I want a resolution, I need to be okay with any single plausible option.
Outcome, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And, not having a preference of, I should, you say this all the time, don't shit all over yourself. I shouldn't shit on myself. I don't need to, have a, pre-prescribed, I, need to feel this way about something. Although like the Aqua Moon would prefer to, be detached and not be in an investment and just kind of look at everything, hands off.
I was going to ask you actually, since we have an Aqua Moon astrologer correspondent on TV, what the hell is going on in an Aqua Moon? What's going on inside there? What are you feeling? What do you feel?
What a good question. What do I feel?
Like, do you have intense drama, or does every feeling tickle? Like
every feeling. It's more of a. I know that if something has gotten too close to me, I get very agitated, because it's, and I'm still discovering and figuring out, how it is to have feelings without pushing them all away. But what do I feel? I feel like I very much avoid emotions until it gets to a certain step. So it's almost like I visualize my heart space alone with myself and God. And there is a certain, staircase, what have you. There's a certain parameter of distance you need to walk before you get really close. And so the
Mm.
more agitated I begin to feel, that's how I know someone is intercepting that bubble that's just supposed to be me and God. So I feel like, and I don't want to speak for all aqua moons or all aqua placements, but personally, it's more of a I don't feel anything until I feel everything.
Right. Is a straw breaking the camel's back? Like,
Totally.
there is a snap. You guys snap.
Yes.
You guys snap. It's a postal snap, kind of. Like, it's funny because I guess it's because you resist. It's a breakthrough thing. You resist until you can't.
Yeah.
You know? And Aquarius is great at resisting and the resistance and rebellion and rebels and that type of thing. Revolution. It's always Uranus and Aquarius. It's part of that. So it's interesting.
I feel like I really begin to feel when there has been a eruption of a boundary, and I may not even know the boundary exists.
Right.
So
right.
When I was younger, I was talking to this boy at the time. I was like, yeah, you can go like do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. And then that just started to happen. And I was like, wait a minute. And so I called the girl he was talking to. I was like, hey, babe, I'm going to need you to step aside. That's mine. So I didn't know until I knew.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think Aquariuses are also decoding. The thing is that I feel like, the age of Aquarius went away. We went through the dark ages. The Aquarius energy kind of got smushed. And I think for Aquariuses, it just was like a horrible feeling. And so any kind of thing came through the psychic hotline or anything for y'all, you just want to be pushed away. Plus, you were already being called and rejected, by religion and whatnot. So I think it was tough. And what's happening now is that you just have the space. It's like Pluto. That's what my last question for you is: did you feel a difference in Pluto in your sign? And if you did, what was it?
I actually felt like things were horrible with Pluto and Capricorn. I did not feel cozy at all.
Yes.
So I actually did notice a very distinct, tangible feeling. It felt lightweight. Like it kind of feels like how I feel here. Like it feels like nothing bad is happening.
If
I had to phrase out the emotion. Say again?
Yeah. Of course, it is bad happening, but it's behind a Pluto wall. It's like been hidden.
Pluto's got it. Pluto, baby, can you take care of it?
I was joking. I was to our astrologers. I think that Pluto hates Capricorn. Like I felt like the consciousness does not like Capricorn either. Like I could feel like the two signs didn't like they were at war. It was like a Scorpio and a Capricorn going for power.
Totally.
And it's like Pluto seems to dig Aquarius. Like they're buddies. Like Pluto's like letting Aquarius get by with all his stuff without even being checked. Like I think y'all are sneaking stuff in the theater. Like seriously, I think y'all getting a special ride from Pluto. But Pluto seems to have a better connection. They actually square. I mean, Scorpio and Aquarius square. So they sort of help hold each other up, But
yes.
I agree. It's been much lighter, so much lighter.
Yes.
When we get back into Capricorn again, it was like, oh, no, Capricorn was what sucked. Absolutely, there's no question.
Yeah.
It's what it sucked. So we'll see. It's an interesting thing. We have another question we want to answer together, and we can kind of chime into this. Say trip. My words. Scorpio sun, huh? I'm checking a lot of Scorpios lately. Oh, another 16. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so 16 Scorpio sun, 23 Taurus moon, and 19 Virgo moon. I guess it's Virgo rising. That'd be the third one. Virgo rising. I'm assuming, yes, because it's been sun, moon, rising. Yeah. How do I know the difference between trusting divine timing and unconsciously repeating a karmic delay pattern? Okay. All right. Divine timing. I gotcha. In other words, when is waiting aligned and when is actually fear wearing a spiritual mask? Okay. So this is I gotcha. This is kind of a, when you're trying to like sense the time of things and when things are, you try to go, I don't know about you, but I will be like, is this it? I try to sense the spiritual story. I try to pull it out. And so something will happen, right? The divine will do something finally. You're like, oh, this happened or whatever. But then it's like, but what happened was more of the same karma. So I think that's what this is talking about. It's like, so you never know. It's like, am I doing the karma again? Or, or am I actually, or is this correct? And the answer is both. That's what I'm getting to. I think the answer is both. I think at the end of the day, when karma goes, it says goodbye. It does not just disappear. It has always one last stand. And what I found so far is that when I've finally gotten rid of karma, which is that, your soul is upset about something on deep inside. That's what karma is. You lose your partner, let's say when you're only 20, have to raise the kids by yourself a whole lifetime. Your soul was pissed the whole lifetime. And it's regretting this, it's regretting that. I shouldn't have done that, should have married that man, blah, blah. All that regret stuff. If it doesn't get resolved, it gets repeated. That's what karma is. The next lifetime, you have the karma, not of having been left, but having been a jerk to yourself when you were. And that memory of it, and your soul is irritable with that. It doesn't want it or whatever. So I feel like a lot of karma is not really it coming up again. That's not the issue. So the fact it comes up again or whatever, you're not repeating an unconscious pattern. Well, you are actually repeating an unconscious pattern because you're going to repeat it until you respond differently to it. But the fact that it's coming up has really nothing to do with how to fix it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Michael? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Is it hardly ever about solving the problem rather than just being in connection?
No, that's a very good question, because what happens is, from what I can tell, the problem is solved. First of all, it's not even this lifetime you're having this problem. Most of the time, it's not even really happening. A lot of times when you have a karmic issue, it's not really happening. It's that you're afraid it's happening. You're afraid it's going to happen again. It's all of you trying to prevent it from happening when it's actually not happening. If anything, you trying to prevent it is starting to make it happen.
Yep.
It's a weird thing because you have beef with yourself, But at the end of the day, I think science and reason did that. Back in the old day before science, it was like, oh, a demon will fix that for you. Or like, a fairy godmother will fix that for you. Like, it was never like, let's figure this out logically and determine, I think that we made people believe that there's a logic that if you just follow the logic, you follow the solution, it's to be discovered somewhere, like science to be discovered, and it's out there and it's living there independently already. And I think that's not true. There's no absolute truth in creation. How can there be an absolute truth in creation? Right. So anyways, it's interesting in that we fall into that ourselves. So for this person, trusting in timing, looking at your astrology, your heart has to be open all the time, Janice. Your heart has to be open all the time, which means you have to feel safe all the time. So if your heart's going to be like, ew, if so-and-so's at the theater, you can't go to the theater because you're going to be, ew. That's protecting yourself. That's keeping yourself from being intertwined with that energy. Now, do you have to avoid the person at the theater? No. Another way to do this is to focus on you. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. If you focus on you, you will not feel them. And a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm an empath. I'm overwhelmed. I'm having anxiety. What's happening is that you're not really listening to your feelings to begin with. They get hypersensitive. Then something outside of you annoys them, like putting lemon juice on a wound. And you're like, ah. And now you're focused all on the wound of the and not on the original reason that you were upset in the first place. So if you just focus on what's causing this, honey, what's going on inside me, you end up blocking all those other experiences because you're not putting attention onto them, really. And we think we're being attacked, but we're just actually putting our own attention on it, and we're turning the volume up ourselves. It's always like, it's literally like you're sitting there hitting yourself, and you're like, what's hurting? Why does this keep happening? It's interesting, yeah. Any thoughts from your perspective?
Yeah, I like reading the question. I feel like collectively we kind of all know what we're repeating.
Oh, yeah.
So my curiosity is with the framing of unconsciously repeating a karmic delay. Just even in the phrasing of that, you are conscious that it's happening. You know that you're doing it. I feel like we all, at a certain point, we all know what we're doing. At a certain point, we're all aware. At a certain point, we, are acting like we are infants regarding a certain thing, but we're actually very intelligent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We actually,
Totally.
that's one thing I've realized too. It's like, it's kind of a game that I don't know, it's for me. I do always know. I was just hoping it was not that way.
You were hoping it wasn't.
Kind of
Yes.
thing. I find that that's usually the case. And so now I'll tell you one thing that's happened over those years, authenticity. Like I feel, there's no more apologies. I don't care. I'm at really reaching the point where I don't know, something about Pluto going Aquarius, maybe. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care anymore. I'm not giving that attention away to, calming someone else down for their problems when they have a problem with me. I didn't cause it. They say I caused it, but it's like, that person's the one having the problem. That person's the one melting down. Why is it my fault? Why is it my problem? Why am I putting out your fire? People piss me off all the time. I don't make you put out my fire. So I think it's emotional codependence. It's like we want everyone else to do the dirty work. Someone else to do the dirty work.
And it's also a two-way street in that we expect, the way seek others in a codependent way, it's because there's a source there. There has been water at the well. So it makes sense that they would go seek that healing from someone else because they've gotten it there before.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very important what we're talking about in the next 2 weeks as we wrap up Capricorn. Because what's going to happen this week is the sun, Mars, and Venus will oppose Jupiter at 20 degrees. And Jupiter at 20 degrees Cancer, by the way. So 20 degrees Cancer is, first of all, a very volatile degree. Because it's the future, how you feel about the future. And so if it's not protected and well guarded, the 0 and the 20, if your feelings don't have this bodyguard with you to always make sure that no one picks on the baby and that we don't take things too seriously and then we keep things in context, if you're not willing to do that work, well, then the future just seems like it's going way off the rails, really quickly. Right. I feel like it's going off the rails. And a lot of times, every time when I break down, it's like, I feel like everything's going, I feel like that, but then it's not. Turns out it just cries over and you get back up, right? So this week, what happens is we have the sun, we have Venus, and we have Mars. We also have the yearly Love Fest Day this week. Yearly Love Fest Day is at step 14, which means that our Love Fest will be, what our heart is really invested in is seeing the world differently this year. To see the world differently, have a new perspective on the way we look at the world. Now, I think it's a guarantee. If aliens land or something, we all will, But I also think that when it comes to ourselves, we're being forced into that lesson that we have to get on the side of our heart. And a lot of people think they're on the side of their heart, but they're really not, because if you're choosing something you don't like because you have to, you're not on the side of your heart. You went against it. It wanted this, and you said, no, it has to do this, right? And that's where we end up betraying ourselves a lot. And then, drawing people who betray. It's interesting and deep at the same time. Let's see what we have. We're getting close here to the end of our little first hour here. Yes, we are. Michaela, we're going to put you on some field trips this week and, have you maybe climb some mountains. I'm kidding. Palm Springs, but we'll bring back on Wednesday to talk about, to show some clips of your interviews and also talk about Unite the Light in further detail. I'm just asking you as an Aquarius, Capricorn is your 12th house. And I was joking this week at the Capricorns on the soul horoscopes about how you guys are the only ones who come to the world already deciding everything. That's why you're so annoying sometimes. Right? Your mind's closed. No, not you. You're the one. No, but I mean, they have Capricorn in the 12th house. And so you were subconsciously already made your mind up. But the thing is, you forgot what you thought. You forgot what you decided. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally. Yeah. I just was waiting for the question. It seemed more like
the question is like, Pluto went through this space. So do you feel like you are decided about life or undecided after Pluto went through that space? Because I think Aquarius was pretty much telling you who they were and who they weren't from the day they're born, if you know them as children. But then Pluto went through it like a wrecking ball, and it's now now it's in your sign. So do you feel like you don't know, or do you feel like you were wrong? You found new things? Like, just out of curiosity, where are you when it comes to faith?
I feel like I knew the whole time. I just doubted my knowing.
It's a good, wise statement. Yes.
Because the full circle moments and the fact that so many nuances of, like, for example, like I remember joking around about certain subjects with my friends when I was really young, and somehow those aspects are still in my heart space. They're still relevant. The things that were still relevant to me when I was 8 are still here. It was everyone, just creating noise that then distracted me from going back to my, inner knowledge. But yeah, I feel the same in the sense that nothing within me has changed. Rather, my acceptance and, therefore giving myself a permission to actually love the things that I have always loved, but never knew. It's not new. It's the KNEW new, but it's not the
brand new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always knew. I've always known. That's the thing. And again, I think you said it eloquently. I didn't trust that knowing because none of my other friends and people in my life had that kind of knowing. They were always questioning all the time, but I seem to know. And then I feel awkward because I'm like, well, do I lie? Do I tell the truth? I mean, what do I say? And so I think that's the path of a mystic and the light worker right there. that you at some point have that route, try to, that rite of passage where you have to trust it.
Right. And I feel like, sorry to interrupt. I feel like,
No.
that's
Very Korean. Go ahead.
when we come from light and love, I think that we're so used to being accepted. Like that's the baseline. So when
That's
we see
true.
other people in our physical reality and they're going against us, we're like, well, wait. So if I come from love and light and alignment, and these
Mhm.
people are actively going against me in opposition, then I am wrong. And especially with the Aquarian archetype of, being the different one, being, perhaps the black sheep, the scapegoat,
Yeah.
all of
Legitimately,
these.
though, falsely accused black sheep, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
scapegoat. Yeah, definitely. Interesting stuff. Well, folks, we're at a time here, but we're grateful to be here with you. And let us know what you think of this new hour. See if this works better for you. Were you able to do stuff while you're cooking dinner and listen to us? I'm not sure. But we'll be back in 24 hours with more. And when we come back, it's going to be Scott Cruz as our tag team specialist. So until tomorrow, we love you. Live, love, be. Sirius Joy Academy is now offering gift certificates called Gifted Scholarships in 6-month, 9-month, and 1-year increments. This is the first time we've ever offered this. Sirius Joy is the most accurate astrology service in the world. And now you can stun your loved ones with a spiritual mirror that helps them every day. Visit SiriusJoy.academy to make your purchase. That's SiriusJoy.academy.